Mitch, the Sixers made a statement, bruh.
They did.
They definitely made a statement. We'll talk about that statement and more next on Lock on 76.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Jace Medical. Empower yourself when you purchase a Jace case, providing you with a personal supply of 5 antibiotics that treat 50 plus infections. Get yours today at jacemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com. Mitch, well, first of all, I'd like to let y'all know I'm Keith Pompey, one of the co-hosts of Locked On 76ers, and you're looking at my man to the side of me, John Mitchell, the extraordinaire, the Mr. Knowledgeable, knows everything about basketball.
There you go.
There you go, John Mitchell. Now he knows that we saw a statement game last night. That was a major statement by the 76ers. And here again, Mitch, the Sixers almost blew it. Things got a little shaky towards the end. But when you look at it and you see how the Sixers were supposed to be a team that's not quite rebuilding, but a team that no one knew how good they were going to be.
Right.
When you look at Boston, supposed to be the team that's going to come out of the East, and the Sixers were at best the third best team. For them to win this game and for them to shut down Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown for the most part, right? This is a major statement to me.
No, I agree. I mean, they shut those guys down. They held them to a combined 10 for 27 from the field. They held them well under their scoring averages. And they didn't get killed on the wings, which is someplace where the Sixers that's been their weakness. Let's be honest. That's been their weakness defensively. Teams with strong wings have been a problem for them. And that team probably has the best set of wings in the Eastern Conference for sure. But yeah, it was a statement game. As far as NBA statement games go, you can look at it as being 1 out of 82, but it was a game that I think had the 76ers lost that game, a lot of the momentum that they have been building in the early part of the season. I mean, you know how fans can be. It's like, well, you beat the teams you were supposed to beat. That's what, good teams do. Then you went up against a Boston team was coming off of a loss. Which is more impetus for them to be, more prepared to play the 76ers. And they went out there and the bench looked better. They got more from their bench. They're starting to show some signs there. I like the energy I saw from Patrick Beverley. And but most importantly, man, they held a team that's averaging 120 points, about close to 20 points below their average. So that's all those things are good. Nothing but good things coming out of that game.
Yeah, I agree. Nothing but good things. I mean, like we talked about the depth. We talked about, here's the thing. In big games, you want big players to step up, right?
Right.
So, so, you look at it, we talk about Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, like that's a given. Tobias Harris right now, we expect him to have 17 points and
right.
9 rebounds, right? But what I'm talking about is guys like Nick Batum. Now, he had 5 points, but he was 2 for 3 shooting, 1 for 2 on threes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He had a block. Now, the thing is about that is he messed his hand up pretty bad. He ran into the locker room late in the second quarter, got it evaluated, taped up in halftime, and brother man came back out and did business. You look at Paul Reed, a guy who struggled a little bit early on in the season. He had 8 points subbing in for Embiid, 8 points from 4 for 5 shooting. Patrick Beverly was a defensive terror. He had 4 assists in his 14 minutes. So to me, when we talk about that, it was deep. And then here's the thing that you love Nick Nurse. He put Furkan in there. Furkan probably had his worst game. He did have his worst game of the season. All he needed to see was 3 minutes and was like, yo, this moment might be too big for this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and so that's the thing that he did. But, you look at it, we talked about is a given with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. But then you look at Joel, like, again, 27 points, 10 rebounds, 4 blocks. Now, he did have 6 turnovers, but he did something. Now, here's something else now. Joel Embiid is the first 76er to average 30 points and 10 boards through 7 games since Hall of Famer who went to your high school, Wilt Chamberlain.
That's right.
1965, 66. I mean, that's cray.
That's almost 60 years. That's close to 60 years.
Yeah, I mean, what is in the water? Why y'all got so many like nice basketball players in West Philly, huh?
Man, it's during that stretch from the 50s through the early 80s, man. It was just a fertile place for basketball players. I remember Overbrook West Philly games.
Yeah, y'all used to win all the chips. West Philly and Overbrook back in the day.
National chips.
Yeah, back in the day.
The Masters of the World, the Power Memorials.
Yeah, I mean, who cares? I'm only joking. We could talk about this forever. Yes. I'm just saying, who cares? Because I didn't grow up there. Right. Although my people from the bottom, shout out to the bottom. That's not the bottom anymore, but it used to be the bottom, right? So anyway, but that's a major feat when you talk about what Joel did, and you keep how should I say it? It seems like every week Joel is doing something like for the first time since Wilt.
Yeah.
The first time since, you know what I mean? It's like it's becoming a weekly thing, like Joel Embiid and Wilt Chamberlain. You know what I mean?
And it's whenever you hear your name mentioned alongside Wilt, you've done something spectacular. And the thing I'm noticing about Joel is that he's not. The first time in a while, it looks like he's not having to play himself into shape and into condition. He looks like he came ready to play from the start. And I think he's happier. I mean, you're around him more than anybody, Keith. He's probably happier with the way things are right now. I think he, and they still run that pick and roll for him. Tyrese Maxey, it's not as prevalent as it was. But I think he's a happier person right now.
Yeah, he is. He has to be. I mean, he has to be. And look, man, but one thing I want to talk to you about is what does this victory mean for the Sixers? Again, Game 7. We both said it was a statement, right? But it's Game 7. But let's talk about when we get right back. What does this victory mean? Our partners at eBay Motors have teamed up with Locked On Fantasy Basketball host Josh Lloyd to bring you some of the best fantasy picks each week, all season long. Whether you're prepping for a daily draft or scouting the waiver wire, every week we're going to provide you players that are guaranteed to fit on your roster. So let's see who Josh has picked out for us in this week's eBay Guarantee Fit Fantasy Picks of the Week, right? Pick one player from Josh's lineup that you might know more about and create this enthusiastic thing. So look, I'm going to pick Dillon Brooks, right? Y'all need to check out Dillon Brooks. Like Dillon Brooks, his shooting is not slick, but Ime Udoka is pumping out a lot of minutes into him. He is getting steals and he is playing his role excellently. So I'm telling y'all need to try to do something with him. Why? Josh Lloyd from Locked On Fantasy Basketball is going to help you win fantasy championship, and eBay Motors knows a championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. Same with your vehicle, right? So if you have any personal experience about buying a part of your car from eBay, mention it here. what's your dream live? What's your memory in the car you love? Like mine, memory in the car I love is the car that I just got, right? Like, it's just that you get in the thing and it runs. Like, no, I'm just messing. Admit, but 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 like real rap. Like, you know what? I was one of those dudes who used to always like getting like classic cars, right? I would get a car and I would hold on until the wheels fell off, right? But then what happened is I went to eBay Motors and people was like, look, man, you gotta come on, bro. Like,
set the game up.
Stop this. Like, mom is like, yo, you coming over the house? We can hear you. We open up the door. You're around the corner. So guess what?
Keith's turning the corner.
Here come Keith. Here come Keith. Right? Neighbors like, hi, Keith. I roll on the block. Everybody waving. But so look. So I went to eBay Motors. I got myself a brand new car. I loved it. Everything was cool. Everything was straight. And now it's kind of sort of like I still got the hoopty though. I still like the hoopty, and I drive it from time to time. But it's nothing like having a reliable car. And I got mine from eBay Motors. And guess what? Y'all can do the same too. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you can make sure your ride stays running smoothly. eBay Motors has brake kits, has all types of things. So I'm telling y'all, go there today and do what you got to do.
Get rid of that hoopty.
Get rid of that hoopty. Not. But anyway. So, Mitch, when we talk about this victory, and we talked about what Tyrese Maxey did, we talked about what Joel did, we talked about the bench. But when you look at this, the Sixers played two players, and they played Nicholas Batum 26 minutes and Robert Covington 15 minutes. We're talking about two guys who got quality minutes who they just picked up.
Mm-hmm.
They just got rid of James Harden. The coach doesn't even know his rotation yet.
Right.
So what does this victory say about the Sixers moving forward?
I think it's the person who sent another great statement was Tyrese Maxey. I know he shot the ball 27 times and his shooting percentage wasn't all that good, but the fact that he was able to remain aggressive when they needed him to be aggressive, and he was able to stay aggressive, particularly in the fourth quarter when he kept hitting all those floaters, So it's what does it mean in the grand scheme of things? I think it means more for them in the sense that they're saying, we're taking an eraser and we're erasing the bad taste, the bad memories of all the drama that we had during the off season. And if you look at the Clippers, they're struggling right now. With the Sixers getting rid of James Harden and trading him off to the Clippers, he got his wish. And the Clippers are, if you just compare the two teams, the Sixers have hit the ground running and they're in sync and they're trying to. It's almost a little bit like the Philadelphia Eagles. You know how the Eagles they've looked good and they still say they haven't played their best game yet, but they're trying to figure it all out. But I think that's what the 76ers are in a sense. I think that they know that they have their two anchors. I think we can go ahead and stamp, put the stamp of approval on Tyrese Maxey moving forward. We had 9-10 rebounds last night, 2 block shots. So, and he had it against his nemesis. He struggles against Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And you chronicled his struggles well. So, is it this season is always going to be about the playoffs and getting, to the conference finals, and I just look at the 76ers and I know that they have removed a Hall of Famer from the roster, but, sometimes you add by subtracting, and that's what I think they are. I think the attitude is better around the team, and they're just deeper than they were last year. So I think now they could go to Detroit and lay an egg. Let's hope that doesn't happen, and I don't think that it will. But no, it's a statement game in that locker room more so than it is in the public, because if they had lost, the conversation would have been around again. You beat these bum team you're supposed to be, but you're same old Sixers. And they beat a team that, some of your colleagues are already anointing as the NBA champion, but they did that last year as well. So,
Yeah, but I'm one of the dudes who said it too. So I mean, I thought they were the NBA champions. I did. I mean, I know they lost a lot of depth, but you look at that starting lineup, right?
yeah,
You look at I think 1 through 6. I think 1 through 6, they have the best players in the league. Talking about the
yeah,
Boston Celtics.
yeah,
I think 1 through 12,
Denver.
or maybe 14, 15. The Sixers have the deepest team in the NBA,
Oh,
right?
you think they're the deepest team, Keith?
I do.
Ooh.
I do.
Ooh.
And here's the reason why. Now look at this. So here. Okay, so we all thought Pat Bev was old, right?
And he is.
He is, but
He's not done.
but he's not done. He's grimy. You look at Nicholas Batum. I like. You know what? You can make a case for him starting, right? A serious case for him.
Yeah.
Then you have Cove. Cove, it could be a starter too, right? Then I mean, let's just say this: we go all the way down the bench, and I'm gonna say Marcus Morris couldn't get any burn last night. But Marcus Morris, he's a little older. He's like 34, 32, or 34.
Yeah.
But you still know he can give you a bucket. You know that.
We'll see him. We'll see him.
We'll see him. I mean, he didn't get anything. And then, Jaden Springer is approved. I just think that they're deep, man. I think they are.
Yeah.
I mean, and like they don't even have it figured out yet. Like this starting lineup of Kelly Oubre, Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid, DeAnthony Melton, and Tyrese Maxey. Like, I kind of think that it's going to be different soon. I mean, DeAnthony Melton is a good guard. I like him. He's struggling mightily right now, but he's a good player. You know what I mean? For what he is. But the thing is, it's like you say to yourself, if I take him out of the starting lineup, what is he going to provide for me coming off the bench that these other guys don't? So sometimes it's best just starting him. You know what I mean? And so, and that's not a knock on him. It's just that he's just, a defensive-minded guard. But when you want to come in, bring somebody off the bench, you want somebody that's going to just bring in instant offense, or who's going to be a long athletic defender. Right? And so you look at them. So I do think they're deep, man. I do think they're deep. Now, again, I don't know what this means moving forward in the grand scheme of things, but I will say that, they opened up my eyes, and it opened up a lot of people's eyes because, like, let's face it, man. Yeah, they lost to the Milwaukee Bucks in the season opener, but then the Milwaukee Bucks got boat raced by the Hawks, and they got boat raced by the Toronto Raptors, right?
And there was some questionable calls in that loss, Keith.
What, to who?
Against the Sixers.
Oh yeah, it was, but at the same time they lost. So you thinking like, but they lost to a team that got boat raced by 2 other teams, right? So you're like, all right, well maybe Milwaukee might not be that good, as good as we thought. And then they played, like you said, they played the Washington Wizards. They played the Raptors twice. They played the Portland Trailblazers. They played the Phoenix Suns without 2 of the best players, right?
Right.
So then they come here, and you're looking at it like, okay, we're finally going to see what they can do. And did they look as good as they normally do at all times? Not at all times. But I tell you, they were down 11 points early in the first half, and had a 15-point lead late. So you know what I mean? So you got to give them some credit. You know what I mean? Like, they're a good team. They got to work on closing out against elite team. They got to do better ball handling at times, when the pressure's on. But I think this says a lot about them moving forward. I do.
No, I agree.
Yeah, I agree. Can we talk about the Jace case real quick?
Okay.
The Jace case provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use. All it takes to get a Jace case is to fill out a simple online form, and in some cases, jump on a quick call with one of our board-certified physicians. Get ongoing care from our physicians on any treatment-related questions. Doctor created, doctor recommended. And its message is don't be caught unprepared. Everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. Jace handles everything from online evaluations to licensed pharmacy medication and ongoing consultant care, right? So what you need to do is you just go to jacemedical.com and get the Jace case, right? JASE medical.com. I'm telling y'all, do it today, people. Definitely do it today. So, Mitch, we keep talking about Maxey,
Mm-hmm.
and it's only 7 games, but I don't really see. I know it's a start, and do you think he's ready? Do you think he's like all-star worthy right now?
After 7 games, I do. The true test will be, can he maintain it? I think that he can. I don't think that he will be averaging 30 at the All-Star break. Um, I think he will be north of 24. Uh, so yeah, I think he can. And again, it may get political down the stretch, but one thing I'm noticing about the coverage of the 76ers is that other people are starting to take note. In your colleagues in the media are starting to take note that this team is good. This team is playing a lot better. This team's playing a lot better under Nick Nurse than we expected them to play. And I don't think anybody expected. Well, I think we did expect Maxey to take a step forward, and I think they just look happier. They look like they have removed something that was hanging over their heads. And let's be quite honest. It was, from what I gather, James wasn't disliked in the locker room, but he was an aging superstar who didn't. I don't think he viewed himself as the aging superstar that he is. I don't think he acknowledges in his mind that he's no longer that player that was, Charles Barkley once said was a better scorer than Michael Jordan, which I thought was crazy. But that's for another podcast. So I do think that, like I said, I said 24. I expect Maxey to average north of 24 points per game, anywhere between 6, maybe 7 assists per game. I think it's going to be hard to deny him, and I think that he's the X factor. He's because we know what Joel's going to give him. As long as Joel stays healthy, we know what Joel's going to give them.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I would be shocked if he doesn't get something. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like some type of accolade. But again, it's still early. And I remember last year he dropped. He was doing damage last year, but then he got injured. Remember?
Right.
And once he got injured, I feel like that kind of like messed things up for him. But when you look at it, you have to say to yourself that he is playing well. Now you have to remind yourself that it also this is 7 out of 82, and if they make it to the play-in tournament championship, they will be playing 83. So it's one of those things where you say hold your horses. But I tell you, we talk about people nationally. It's funny when reporters come in from different cities
to
cover these stories, and the Athletic has been sending a lot here, right? They all rave over Maxey.
Yeah.
It's one of those things they say, wow, this guy, he we know he wants to run an offense, but man, can he score the ball? Man, can no one stop him? I mean, they're already, and we're talking about people who've been in the business for years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Hall of Fame type reporters. They all are raving over Maxey.
Yeah. And what the key, I mean, we all knew he was fast. But my God, I think he's about the fastest player in the league right now. I mean, he's from end to end. And that was part of the question of whether or not he would be able to handle duties on the point, because sometimes it seems like his mind and his body are racing. His mind's racing ahead of his body, which is hard to imagine. But now they seem to have leveled off, where the mind and the body are doing the same, and they're in agreement on what they're doing. So he's just the Sixers made a great pick with that pick. That's all you can say. To get him in the 20s, he's clearly outplayed his contract. And they're going to have to reward him to keep him around, and I think they're obviously going to be committed to keeping him around.
I agree. Well, look, y'all, we want to thank y'all for listening today. We want to let you guys know that you can get this podcast wherever you get podcasts from, and it's free and available, right? So it's free and available wherever you get your podcast from, right? Tomorrow's show, we're going to break down the play-in game, right? Not the play-in, the in-season tournament. I keep saying play-in, like, oh, Lord, because it's the in-season tournament. So
I'm still trying to figure out how it works. But
we're going to see. Tomorrow night, I'm going to be in Detroit. Like, I might need some sunglasses because that court is probably going to hurt my eyes, right?
It's ugly.
It's going to be ugly. But, we're going to go there. The Sixers play the Pistons in the first one to get it kicked off. And then the next one is going to be Tuesday. Then they have one on Friday. So, we're going to handle that. We're going to talk about it tomorrow. We're going to advance it. And but I want y'all to know y'all can get this podcast. But you can also go to our YouTube channel. You go to our YouTube channel. Make sure you click on the Liberty Bell. Right. Once you click on the Liberty Bell, you become a new subscriber and you get notifications. And if you hate us, if no matter how you feel, leave a comment.
How could you hate these faces?
Huh?
How could you hate these faces?
Hey, I don't know. Y'all don't hate this, do y'all? It's like nah. But please, we want y'all to have a great day. Have a blessed day. And come back to us later. And again, we'll talk tomorrow about the play-in tournament. Try to break it down for some of y'all who really don't have an idea of what's going on and what's at stake, right? So, peace.